Hey, true seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Tuesday, January 17th, 2017. Yesterday, one of the top news stories, it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. One of the top news stories was a shooting at a Martin Luther King Jr. Day parade in Miami, Florida. And what I want to share with you in this video is that shooting did not happen. What happened was your city police, in this case it's Miami-Dade, but these types of things have been going on in this nation, in all cities, for decades. First, let me tell you what the United States of America is in case you don't know, in case you turn on the news and you're looking for information that's going to be beneficial to your life there. The United States of America is a military operation. It always has been. This nation was established by warmonger tyrants that started what we call the United States of America out of a genocide of the native people. And now we, the people, get programmed in educational institutions to think that a man named Christopher Columbus discovered a land where millions of people already lived and created what became the greatest nation ever, even though it's always been at war and it's got this history of slavery and murder. But oh well, it's just called manifest destiny. Anyway, this is where you live. You live in a big lie, a big war machine, a nation that's always at war, always killing people in some part of the world, typically brown. And what they do in this nation is they teach us all to consent to the wrongdoing. And they use their nightly news to scare us and intimidate us and make us think we need Big Brother to keep us safe from the boogeyman. They demonize certain populations more than others, in the post 9/11 agenda, constant demonization of one of the most peaceful religions in the world, Islam. They've got you all hooked up on the 9/11 lie. No man in a cave, no Islamic man took down the buildings on 9/11. Those are all lies. It was men in suits, men who run your government, world governments, world banking. That's who did 9/11. Then they gave you just the boogeyman show on the news. For those who don't know what they're watching when they turn on the TV, the information weapon, the lie box. Anyway, it's just always constant false programming, and another group that is always demonized by the television, black people. And for anyone who wants to go, well, they have black entertainment television, that's just all part of the bullshit too. Black people constantly being demonized by the media, for decades. Wanted, black man, murderer, rapist on the loose. When I was a kid growing up in the 80s, that's what was always on the news. Always. Some wanted black man out there. Some new nightly news story. There's a deeper reason for that. But anyway, here we are. We're on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Celebration of the only born American to have a holiday named after him. Black American. And the story is that at a parade for him, there's this deadly shooting. No motive. They haven't found the shooter. They've reported that they've arrested people who they thought were responsible for the shooting, but it turned out they were guilty for other things. Think about that. Because this is what's going on. The police, what they do, and this has been going on, they conduct these drills. And then the media reports that the drill was a real tragedy. And watch, CNN's put out multiple videos on this about how police do real-time drills in movie theaters, public schools, malls, all the places you hear about shootings. Public places, they just roll out the drill. They got guns with cap sounds that don't shoot real bullets. They play out scenarios in the public for training. And this is exactly what went on yesterday. One of these drills then reported as a tragedy. And why? Well, pay attention. So that they can tell you they need to have more police. They need to have more militarized police. They need to have more cameras. They need more tax dollars to keep you safe. Meanwhile, the only real threat are the police who are paid for by this ever-growing budget. Have you noticed how in the post 9/11 agenda we've hired way more police, way more militarized police, and now all of a sudden there's this upsurge in shootings and senseless crimes? Killings on Martin Luther King Jr. Day at a parade for no reason, no motive, can't find the shooter. Come on now. So here, I want to talk about false flags and the police real quick. Recently, there was a major false flag in Florida, just like where yesterday's shooting was. Had everything to do with race. The story of George Zimmerman killing Trayvon Martin, the wannabe cop, who they're saying in hindsight that the police should have had more of an eye on. Anyway, Trayvon Martin was buried March 3rd, 2012, supposedly. That was the 21-year anniversary of the beating of Rodney King on March 3rd, 1991. Rodney King would die June 17th, 2012, just months after this, what became the anniversary date of the Charleston church shooting, which is another psychological operations false flag. Dylan Stormroof just got a 33-count federal indictment. Well, anyway, 3-3 is the signal here. 33 is the number of Freemasonry. It's Freemasonry that runs this nation. Freemasons establish this nation. Freemasons control our police, our government, our media, our history books. Freemasonry, thousands of years old, worldwide, across all nations, continents. This is the powerful alliance that people call the Illuminati, the New World Order. Freemasonry's number is 33. False flag equals 33, just like race war. Think about this, 3-3. It was Trayvon Martin, his initials TM, like trademark, 33. His killer George Zimmerman, GZ, like 33. It was the LAPD who beat Rodney King on 3-3. The word police is 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33. And think about the names of these men. Trayvon Martin, Rodney King, Martin King, Martin Luther King, the man who died prematurely, by the numbers, an injustice. But the reason he has a holiday named after him. Martin King, now a Martin Luther King Jr. Day false flag. So real quick, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. I put out a video on Black History by the Numbers yesterday, talked about the assassinations of King and X, the major parallels, both men dead at age 39 by the same numbers. Malcolm X died on a date with a life lesson number of 44. Malcolm X, February 21st, 1965. Martin Luther King Jr. dead April 4th, 1968. When you write out 44, when you write out April 4th, they both sum to 144. This number throughout history connected to killing. JFK died by this number. RFK died by this number in 1968. He died June 6th, supposedly at 1:44 in the morning. His brother died on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius equals 144, the astrological sign. He was the 44th term president, JFK. He died in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree master mason. The name Sirhan equals 33. Sirhan, the assassinate of Robert Kennedy, who died on 6/6. Sirhan plus Sirhan is 66. Robert's 33, so is Kennedy. Also 66. But anyway, notice the letter X in a form of gematria where you multiply each letter in the alphabet times 6. X is the 24th letter, 24 times 6, 144. Malcolm X dead on a date with 44 numerology. King dead on April 4th. The word time represented by 144. The word killer. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin, Ray. The name Ray equals 44, by the way, just like the word kill. But anyway, Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin died April 23rd, 1998, 30 years after King, a date with 144 numerology. The killer of King dies on a date with 144 numerology. Malcolm X died on a date with a life lesson number of 44. His assassin was named Thomas Hagen. Thomas Hagen, 44. Thomas Hagen got 44 years in prison. I go into greater detail on this in yesterday's video, which I'll link in the description. The video I put out for Martin Luther King Jr. Day before this news. So look, it's a shooting on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The word shooting equals 44. Just like the word execution, just like the word kill. This is the last Martin Luther King Jr. Day for the 44th president, Barack Hussein Obama, who ran on hope. Obama elected in 2008, 44 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Some more 44s: officer 44, trooper 44, sheriff 44, military 44. We live in a military state. With regards to Civil Rights Act in 64, civil rights equals 64. Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. 44th president, 44 years later. Obama, he's the 44th president, but the 43rd person to be president. Trump's number 45, but the 44th person to be president. Think about how Trump at the beginning of the Obama administration started the birther argument. The word birther equals 44. Notice that the name Trump is 88. 44 plus 44. Kill Hope, 88. You know, even though I always understood that Obama was, an agent, a deceiver, not an honest person, not going to be a good president, it still felt like some sort of progress at least. A nation that had only had white men as presidents. And then just think about it. After Obama, we've never gotten a white man like Trump who's bigoted and just ridiculous and immature. Just communicates all of these negative values. As much as I never liked Obama, when he spoke, there's some things he said that are just like a politician that make me want to vomit. But he never acted like a pig or said anything, that was so awful other than political lies, which is just typical for these people. Trump, the way he presents himself, the things he says, it's gross. The words poison and program, 88. The Republican Party, 88. That's interesting. So anyhow, the reporting, 20-year-old man had to undergo surgeries in critical condition. Notice the way they write this. According to the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, 3 juveniles and 3 adults, 3 and 3, 33, were shot during the celebration at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park. 2 other juveniles were grazed by bullets and were treated on the scene and released to their parents. Look how they get that 3 and 3 in there. Isn't it interesting? Again, we talked about all the 33 words. So why Miami? Why did this happen in Miami? Let's talk about it, and we'll talk about the streets it happened on. The name Martin Luther King Jr. in Gematria sums to 93, just like Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, her full name, just like Malcolm X. 93 is the number for Saturn. Saturn is the keeper of time to the occult. Freemasonry, they keep occult knowledge. The word occult essentially means knowledge only known by the few. So what I'm sharing with you, this is knowledge that was truly only known by the few before I started blabbing my mouth and putting it out to the world. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you what the consequences of that are. There's real consequences for what I'm doing, but I don't care because I have a goal, and I'm not letting anyone take me off my goal unless they really want to take me off, But look, Saturn is the keeper of time. Science tells us that the sun is 93 million miles away. The speech that Martin Luther King Jr. gave his last, or the location that Martin Luther King Jr. gave his last speech at, Mason Temple on April 3rd, 1968, the address of that temple is 930. 930 Mason Temple. The word crucifix equals 93. His final speech, I've been to the mountaintop. He talks about how he might die soon. Anyway, 93, special number connected to Saturn, the keeper of time. We talked about how time equals 144. This special number connected to assassinations throughout time. There's something called the magic square of Saturn. This is it. 492. You add it up. 4 plus 9 plus 2, it's 15. 357. 3 plus 5 plus 7, 15. 816, add it up, 15. You do the same thing going down. 2 plus 7 plus 6 is 15. Every single row, column you add is 15. Altogether, it sums to 45. This thing is called the magic square of Saturn, summing to 45. Miami has gematria of 45. You see? Martin Luther King Jr. connected to this number 93. Martin Luther King Jr. shooting in Miami. And the Miami-Dade police are a police department that participate a lot in these false flags. Cities like New York often involved, Chicago often involved. All cities participate, but there's certain cities that you just read about more than others. The Miami-Dade police, they're up there. The Texas cities, they're up there. Miami-Dade police in gematria sums to 74, like Masonic, like Jewish, like occult, like killing. Another very special number, coded routinely by the Freemasons and their false flags. If you've never seen my work on 9/11, the biggest of them all, the World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. The buildings lasted 33 years, from 1968 to 2001. 68, the year MLK was assassinated. The same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. The same year World Trade Center construction began in New York. The same year George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 911 is the 156th prime number. And if you write out 33 as a word, it sums to 156. The construction firm that built the World Trade Centers, their name in gematria sums to 156. Magnuson Klemenkic Associates. So let's check this out too. The men that were arrested, and they were charged for carrying concealed weapons. They weren't connected to the shooting, but they ended up getting criminal charges against them. It says that they were taken to Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Facility. Okay, so Turner Guilford Knight equals 113, mainstream equals 113, dishonest 113. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin supposedly died on April 23rd, the date with 144 numerology. That's the 113th day of the year that he supposedly died. Anyway, this is a number coded again and again into false flags, and it's an important number to Freemasonry. Scottish equals 113, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Their ages, 29 and 28, if you add them together, sums to 57. Scottish Rite, using the English reduction method, sums to 57. Scottish using English ordinals, 113. Look at also the names in here. Turner, Knight, and Guilford. I'm going to talk about what happened to me on Christmas Eve and how I'm now trying to get my house repaired. I've been passed between two insurance agents with Allstate. One's name is Turner and the other's name is Knight, and they don't want to pay me anything. They're fighting me tooth and nail. We'll talk more about that. I just wonder if that's a coincidence, but I just think it's funny. Turner and Knight. Here it is in this name, and the other name is Guilford. Turner, Knight. Turner, Guilford, Knight, 113, all broken down, 33, 33, 47. Anyway, Guilford equals 47, authorities 47, judges 47, obeys 47, gavel 47, foundation 47, framework 47. The word authority, using the alphabetic order, is 137, the 33rd prime number. Just like how Washington, D.C. is 137, the 33rd prime. The man who wrote Morals and Dogma, the Freemason Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma equals 137. Just like Washington, D.C., he's the only Confederate soldier with a statue in D.C. So look, they said the names were Tavarius Flowers and Alexander Brito Peralta. The name Tavarius in gematria sums to 39. So does the name Alexander, 39. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., both dead at age 39. The reflection of 93. Both of them 93 name gematria. And they only met one time in history. March 26th, 1964. 3 plus 26 plus 64 is 93. The only time they ever met in history on a date with 93 numerology. Malcolm X would be assassinated 333 days later. Check out my video yesterday. There's more information. The name Flowers, Tavarius Flowers. Flowers also has gematria 44, like shooting. Tavarius 39. It makes me think that all of these details are just made up. And in a way, they're a warning for the people who read the news. You know, oh wow, people are getting arrested who aren't even involved. Think about it. Police go and stage a drill, report it as a real tragedy, have a reason to go around the city arresting people. Hello, Boston Marathon bombing, where they set off those firework blasts. And then said a real bombing had happened there. They had the crisis actors, the fake blood, the guy in the cowboy hat. Notice they just came out with the movie for that, January 13th, 113, mainstream dishonest. Boston Marathon bombing equals 93, like the word propaganda. The bomber who went on trial, born in 93, on a date with 33 numerology. Almost reminds me of Flight 93 of 33 passengers, or the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Again, these are special numbers, these numbers coded on Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and they've been used all throughout history to make war and more. The other name up here, Alexander Brito Peralta. It sums to 95. That's the reflection of the number 59. The date Martin Luther King Jr. died was a date with 95 numerology. It's the reflection of 59, number stamped on black people, Negro 59, slave 59, blues 59. The word kill in Jewish gematria is 59. Rosa Parks died on a date with 39 and 59 numerology. And again, Tiberius, I forgot to mention, sums to 666, the number of the beast. If you take the first 144 decimal points of pi, like you learned about in geometry class, and you add those 144 decimal points together, they sum to 666. Mark of the beast equals 144. A lot of people call 666 the mark of the beast, but its true name from the Bible is number of the beast. Number of the beast equals 66. Just like here is wisdom equals 66. Here is wisdom is how the verse begins about calculating the number of the beast, which is 666. And that verse comes from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. I'll just show you real quick. Understand that whenever I'm talking about stuff and not writing it down, it's because I've talked about it thousands of times. I've shown it in so many videos, but I know that there's always new people here. Oh, whoops. And remember to spell correctly. It's number of the beast. Here is wisdom. And Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. If you count every number 1 through 11 and add them together, it sums to 66. And so there's a connection to 11, the master number, with Revelation being the 66th book of the Bible. The word revelation also sums to 121, which is the square root, or the square root of 121 is 11. Isn't that interesting? Revelation, the 66th book, the name with 121 gematria coming back to 11, the master number in numerology. The master builder number in numerology is 22, and Revelation is 22 chapters. 11, 22. What comes next? 33. You know where the name Michael comes from? Very common name in English. It comes from Revelation. Michael is the leader of the armies of the angels from heaven. So anyway, just some additional knowledge. Notice here in the reporting, at 3:40 p.m., this was a date with 34 numerology. The word murder equals 34. At 3:40 p.m., that's also military time 1540. It's got the 5-4 sequence in it. Monday, shortly after the annual Martin Luther King Day Parade along Northwest 54th Street. You know why that's so interesting? Because the numbers 93 and 54 always get paired together. I've been talking about this like a broken record for 3 years. They say the sun's 93 million miles away. The word sun in gematria equals 54. 54th Street. When it had finished, hundreds gathered in the Brownsville Park. I should have done the gematria on Brownsville Park. Here, I'll do it real quick. Brownsville equals 52. Or here, why don't, instead of doing it in my head, I'll just show you. Brownsville, 52. Tennessee has gematria 52, where Martin Luther King Jr. died in Memphis, Tennessee. And Malcolm X died on February 21st, which is the 52nd day of the year. Special number 52 connects to things such as government, prophecy, Revelation, the book of prophecy and destruction. So anyway, Brownsville Park, that's interesting. that bears the name of the civil rights icon at Northwest 62nd Street and 32nd Court. So look, 32 is a special number to this nation, America, and we were talking about 33. March 3rd, it's the 62nd day on the calendar. The word Mason equals 62. MLK gave his last speech at Mason Temple. Mason Temple happens to have the same gematria as government as well. But anyway, Northwest 62nd Street and 32nd Court. Then down here it says the victims, everybody's cool except for 20-year-old Jerome Battle, who's in critical condition, who had to have surgery. Jerome Battle happens to equal 45. And just think about the name. What's it imply? A battle, a fight for survival, war, killing. Jerome Battle equals 45 like Miami, 45, the number of the magic square of Saturn. If I forgot to say so, the word magic is 33. They said he's 20 years old. The word death equals 20. The word death also sums to 38 like Florida. And I don't know why I forgot to write this. Another location with 38 gematria is Memphis, where Martin Luther King Jr. died. MLK dead on April 4th, 1968 in Memphis. Also, with regards to it being 54th Street, yesterday's date had 54 numerology. If you drop the 20, it's 20 less. It was also a date with 34 numerology. Again, the word murder's 34, 3:40 p.m. Something about 45 and 54, numbers that are reflections of each other. When you write out 45, it sums to 54. When you write out 54, it sums to 54. The word baseball equals 54. Yesterday, the Cubs were at the White House to celebrate the World Series. If you missed how I called the Cubs would win the World Series in spring training and why they'd win it in Game 7, it's all up on this video channel. But again, 54 often paired with 93. The sun's 93 million miles away. The word sun in the sky, 54. There's an occult religion called Thelema that worships the word love and the number 93. Love also sums to 54. With regards to the 62nd Street and 32nd Court, add those numbers together, it sums to 94. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his final speech on the 93rd day of the year in non-leap years, but the year he died was a leap year, meaning he died on the 94th day of the year. The anniversary of his death, April 4th, is typically the 94th day of the year, except in leap years. So anyway, 94 connected to the death of Martin Luther King Jr. They said 8 people were shot. When you write out 8, it sums to 49. With regards to this likely being a tribute to Obama, who just finished 8 years in Washington, D.C., 8 wounded, Obama's 8th Martin Luther King Jr. Day in office. Washington equals 49, Revelation 49, Revelation, the book of prophecy. The original capital of the U.S., Philadelphia, gets its name from Revelation. Think about it. Also, when you write out 94, it sums to 147. When you write out police, it sums to 147. I was able to confirm that the Cubs would win in Game 7 of this year because they won their 94th game and their 147th game, and Miguel Montero had the big hit. And I said, watch, Miguel Montero will probably have the winning hit in Game 7. Miguel Montero, number 47, did have the game-winning RBI. So anyway, your news is scripted, your sports are scripted. They're scripted by the same numbers because it's the same gang doing the same numerical codes and rituals. It is Freemasonry. Mason Temple, where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his last speech April 3rd, 1968. Mason Temple, gematria of 133, like government. Look at the address. Church of God in Christ, Mason Temple in Memphis, Tennessee, 930. Isn't it unreal? Look at their phone number. 947. Christian equals 47, authority 47. Rodney King, dead at age 47, 3 years before the church shooting at Bible study class. Look at this, you guys. Bible study class, Christian, authority. You know, Dylan Stormroof shot up the Bible study class. Dylan Stormroof, spelled with a double N, the white supremacist. They had the Black Panther Party show up right after the shooting. They arrested Dylan Stormroof on Interstate 74 after he was spotted by Debbie Dills. I wish all of this wasn't true, but it is. Debbie Dills spotted Dylan Stormroof on Interstate 74 on her way to work. She was real nervous to tell about it on TV. So anyway, let's close out here. Perhaps you watched all of this and you think I'm crazy. You think it's all coincidence. That means that you probably never watched any of my videos before because I've been showing the same thing again and again for 3 years straight. This Christmas Eve, I got a nice little present. Christmas Eve, I got a phone call after 8 p.m. over and over and over. Turned out it was the Bothell Police. I'd just gotten down to Portland, Oregon. I live up here north of Seattle in Bothell, Washington. Just after 8 p.m., I found out that a drunk driver had crashed into my house. Very interesting. Says it's 12/24/2016, military time, 2000 hours, which is 8 p.m. So the next day, it was Christmas Day. I called the police to see if I could get a copy of the report to get more information about what happened. And they didn't have a copy of the report. They said there was no report, but there was just a case number, which I already had. And so anyway, the next day, December 26th, the report was put together. Notice that the report was signed off by this officer, M. Zilagyi, December 26, 2016 at 12:33 a.m., meaning the report was signed off at the 33rd minute of the day. And this date, December 26, 2016, is a date with 74 numerology. 74 numerology. Bothell, where I live in Gematria, happens to sum to 74. This police department is right across the street from the Freemasonic Lodge, as many police departments are in this nation. And look, Bothell 74 like Masonic, like Miami-Dade Police. 74 and 33 are a Masonic pairing. Out of the 50 states, out of all 50 states, only one sums to 74. And it's the 33rd state, Oregon, which happened to be where I was when this car wreck into my home happened in Washington. I'm originally from Portland. I was visiting my family Christmas Eve when I got this phone call. So anyway, they sign off at the 33rd minute of the day on a date with 74 numerology in an event that's super suspicious. I later found out that it was my own neighbor who drove into my house. 2 years ago, before Thanksgiving, my neighbor ripped off my house and escaped town and then came back and bought the exact same vehicle, make, model, color, everything as me, and a whole lot more. Now a different neighbor that lives right next to him drives into my house. When I first moved into this house, neither of those people lived across the street from me. But anyway, check this out. The name of the officer who signed off on the report, his name in Gematria sums to 121, special number. These are all numbers I've been talking about for 3 years straight. The lodge in Bothell, that's right across from this police station, is number 121. Number 121. It is called Ashler Lodge, which in Gematria sums to 52. And the date that this car wrecked into my home, date with 52 numerology. It's no secret why the Freemasons would be doing this to me. You know, for 3 years, I've been the biggest thorn in the side of the illegitimate Freemasonic network in this world. For 3 years, I've called them out on almost every single thing that they've done in the mainstream media. That's why there's thousands of videos on this channel. It's funny how many truth channels are putting out videos calling me a shill and making fun of how many videos I've made to how many few subscribers I have. I don't do it for the subscribers. I do it to put out the word, and I just think with every video, maybe I'll wake up at least one more person right here. That's why I work my ass off. I don't see anything more worthwhile in this world than overthrowing the tyrants who are upon us, including the police. I'm someone who really doesn't like the police. I haven't liked the police from a young age. I have an ironic life, truth seeker. When I moved at age 7, I moved to a little bit better area. The family we lived next to were police officers, and their last name really was Cop. C-O-P-P. Moved next to a family named Cop that were police officers. And I was a little bit older than the boy, the oldest boy in that family. There were 2 boys. One was a year younger than me. The other one was like 2.5 years younger. And, I was always nice to them. There was one day where the one that was around my age, it was more than one day where it was like this, but he was kind of like a whiner, right? One day we were just throwing the football out in front of the house, something to do. And when I threw him the ball, I was about 11 years old, maybe 10. I threw him the ball and it pegged him right in the face and he started crying. And I think I said back to him like, toughen up or whatever. But then he ran inside, and next thing I knew his dad was coming out, cussing at me, who's the police officer. And his dad in no time had me picked up by the neck and said, "Don't ever lay a hand on my boy again." I think Brian, which was the kid's name, ran in the house and told him like I hit him in the face. So the dad just came out in a fit of rage and like choked me out by my neck. When I told my dad about it, you know what my dad said? "Well, there's not shit I can do to help you. He's the police." So, that's probably like the most violent thing that ever happened to me. Just get yanked up by my neck as a kid, and all I'd done was throwing the football to his son. So anyway, I've always had it out for the police. I was a child. The first house we lived into, it got burglarized multiple times. I remember how the police never helped us out. Police, they're only here to protect the tyrants. Write you more tickets, parking tickets, speeding tickets. You know how they love to turn on their lights and block up a lane to create a needless traffic jam, probably because somebody was going 5 over. That's what the police do. And then they do this, I wish I could find out the full truth of what went on in my house Christmas Eve, but this police report, all of this, it's making me think I really know what happened. How bizarre is it to have a car crash into your house on Christmas Eve? Things just aren't adding up, truth seeker. Gang stalking's a real thing. Corrupt police, corrupt authority, it's a real thing. But the good news is, these tactics, they don't stop me from doing what I'm trying to do. And you know what? If you were doing what I was trying to do, if there was another person out there working their ass off like me, we'd be that much further ahead. They might try to do the same thing to you, but you know what? You don't have to let it stop you either. And the day enough of us fight back, they're not going to be able to do anything about it because there's way more of us than them. That's what I try to remind people. Don't be fearful. Fight back. Safety in numbers. Just be glad I'm out here to help lead the way for you. That's why I've always put my face on the camera. Always been honest about everything. Just trying to show you guys. Honest, real people can do something. You can do something more than you're already doing. And the other thing I want to do is plug this channel, The Urban Disciples. He put up 2 great videos. Watch these videos. I'm going to link his channel in the description. Sub his channel. His subs are going way up. He's doing a good job. His channel's growing really fast. That's good. Yeah, he just had like 500 subscribers not that long ago. I'm impressed. But anyway, sub this guy. He's doing good work here. Until next time, True Seeker.